We have Dan, myself, Josh, and Sam on here, and we're going to be going through a few really important things in the stock market today. First and foremost, let's just talk about where we are in the market, right? The S&P has pretty much recovered everything it lost since Liberation Day, and we're pretty much flat or just above break even on year to date. Personally, I'm up a little bit year to date, but we're talking about the S&P 500. The Nasdaq is a little bit of a lagger, and then the Dow Jones, I believe, is lagging even more, primarily because UNH makes up such a big portion of their funds. So we can start right there. UNH, guys, market is rallying, and UNH is tanking. It's one of the biggest companies in the entire world. Starting with Sam, what do you think? What do you think's going on there, and how are you watching it?
So what the it's kind of like the perfect storm is going on right now for UNH, where every bad thing that could happen, it's kind of just subsequently happening, like one thing after the next. Like it's like they almost can't catch a break from the Luigi Mangione story that just highlighted. It's kind of like when people say you don't want to know how the sausage is made, those insurance companies really didn't want people to know like the stuff that it, let's not talking about the morality of it all, but as a financial, financially, they obviously don't want people to know all the stuff, all the the problematic stuff. But then it hits with the Medicaid stuff and the fraud, and when the Doge is looking into U.S. aid and a bunch of different things. So I think that it's there's just a sentiment's horrible right now, and it's I know Ben's thinking, he's been accumulating. I've been a long time holder, and that's why I'm very kind of just cautious. I think I'm still gonna wait until we see some sort of floor, because it's like every time I stop looking at it, every time I look, it's down like another $50. I'm like, well, what's going on? So right now I'm very cautious, and I'll wait. I'll wait until, like, I mean, we could see 180. We could see 200. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, what do you think, Josh? I know we were actually talking about this earlier. Jump right in. What do you think about UNH?
Yeah, it's definitely been a falling knife. Been looking at it. Um, like we said, we talked about it before. I look at strong companies, but I also look at I look at the fundamentals as well as a technical perspective on everything. And I was looking at certain levels. We were talking about it la- yesterday or 2 days ago that I was looking at 280 and it went right below that. Um, so I started accumulating this morning around the low 260s. If it goes lower, I will buy more. I think we've found a local bottom here, especially with you can't really be too greedy and ask for too much. I mean, I felt like I was being kind of greedy, waiting for 200s, but we're here now, so it ended up working in my favor. But yeah, I accumulated a good amount today in the low 260s, so I'm happy with my current position. I think this is just a lot of noise with a big company. Um, I think the left side doesn't like a company like UNH, and we're hearing a lot of noise like we did with Tesla, for example.
I
And there's
mean,
like other stuff going on too, but I think it's just
Yeah.
another good buying opportunity.
it's just like we have to, like, kind of, I mean, looking at this chart, I mean, this thing looks atrocious. I mean, we're right now we're in 2018 numbers, so like add inflation to this thing, like I feel like this is just a really good, like like a case study to really show people. Everyone thinks, oh, you put money in the market and you go, I mean, people could have bought in 2018, and in a month now they're now they're at the, they're right back there. We're talking about
Yeah.
7 years of gains wiped
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, a lot of
uh
years of gains, and again, for
and
context, this is one of the biggest companies in the world, the biggest insurance
400,000
company.
employees. This, like, we're talking about, we're not talking about
Yeah.
GameStop over here. We're talking about a mass. I mean, I don't even know what the
Yeah.
PE ratio is now, but I
I
know
mean,
that
the
they
forward PE is getting into like the 11,
no, but
11
I
to
know
12
that they
now.
said that they're something with their guidance was really bad as well. I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah,
what
their
it
guidance
was.
their guidance fell off, but even if their guidance goes off by 25, 30, 20, 25%, even 30%, the stock is down at this point like closer to like 60%. So there is a mismatch there. Dan, I know you have some thoughts on this too. Feel free to jump in.
Yeah, big news here yesterday was the Department of Justice coming in, looking into possible Medicare fraud, which is their cash cow. Ben, and we were talking about this a little bit before, but I don't think UNH is the only company that's doing this. They might try to make an example because they're the biggest company that's in that space. At one point, they were like almost a $500 billion market cap company. But yeah, I think that they probably will have to pay a fine at some point. But I think this is a lot of news, a lot of noise. Something like the Department of Justice case to me sounds like a bottoming sort of a news, and then it's
Yeah.
settling into that $250 price range, which, if you're looking at the technicals, looks like a good accumulation zone. Kind of went through that zone in the 2020 COVID crisis and back in 2018 when the first round of tariffs came out. And then also from a volume standpoint, I think today it traded at its largest volume ever. I don't
Mm,
have the number. Let me see if I have a number on it.
yeah.
$121 million worth of share was traded today. It's the largest single trading day in its history. So again, I think it's kind of we found a local bottom here, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah. I
think you're
was
probably going to see a bounce here.
yeah. I was probably a nice portion of that 121 million. I bought, yeah, I bought a few different times during the day. Yeah, I mean, listen, here's what I'll say. On the one hand, insurance is one of the greatest businesses in the world, right? You are the house in this equation, and everybody else is the player in the global financial casino, right? They have the advantage; they collect the premiums up front. On the other hand, yeah, they do a lot of shady stuff. I mean, we talked about this on the DGen Download podcast just now, but 40% of New York City is on Medicaid. Medicaid is the free insurance that they give to low income people. 50% just about of California, the biggest state in the country, is on government subsidized health insurance. So their fraud is, to say almost at an unspeakable level would probably be an understatement. There's literally trillions of dollars a year in fraud related to like the insurance industry. And yeah, everybody knows hospitals take advantage of people with Medicare and Medicaid because they know that the government's paying for it. Doctors take advantage of people with Medicare and Medicaid because they know the government's paying for it. And insurance companies do a bunch of Medicare fraud. Every single healthcare provider that isn't like the most rigid goody two shoes person is probably committing Medicare and Medicaid fraud. So in my ideal system, all those people will be taken down and go to jail, but that's never going to happen because we don't live in like a really actually fair world. So it is what it is. I think if they get a slap on the wrist, pay a fine, that's probably the worst case scenario. There is a tiny, tiny chance that they are the fall guy. But again, in making one of the biggest companies in the US, the fall guy with hundreds of thousands of employees, millions of people relying on these people to provide an income, insurance, and all this stuff, it just doesn't strike me as something that's really going to happen. So net, I think UNH fair value with all of this is probably somewhere closer to like 400 right now, maybe 450. I think buying it 250 is a great price. 270 is a great price. Anything below 300 is a great price. I've been accumulating. There's going to be pain. I'm happy to deal with the pain. It hasn't been like it was a small position for me, and I've doubled it, if not tripled it, over the last like couple weeks. So yeah, we'll see what happens. If it goes, I hope it goes down lower. I hope it goes down to like 200. I probably load the boat on call options because at that point I consider it free money to some extent. So we'll kind of see how it plays out, but it is kind of interesting. It's one of the biggest companies in the world, and as the general markets are ripping, it is plummeting, and it's not really holding people back, which is quite interesting to see. Um, cool. So that's on UNH. I mean, are there
Let's
any?
I
Yeah.
want to talk about Tesla because I've been saying Tesla already for I don't know how many weeks, and MicroStrategy really. So at the pullback to now, you'd probably be up about 90% or something on MicroStrategy, maybe more. I think maybe 100 something percent, and then as well as on Tesla, you'd probably be around that 80% mark up. That's another thing I wanted to say. We need to go back and get clips of predictions with dating and like then if it comes true, and then just for our own purposes. But
Yeah,
so
literally.
yeah, so I've been really big on MicroStrategy, and I've been really big on Tesla and Amazon. So Tesla, that's kind of, however you feel about the whole Elon situation, but I feel like Amazon was a no-brainer. Uh really oversold. 10%, 11% down days, like we were. Listen, when the market panics and everyone is in a state of frenzy, it's kind of hard to be rational in an irrational market, because it hinders, the right move when you try to think about stuff logically, and but this doesn't make sense. Well, the market doesn't always make sense. It usually doesn't make sense. So I've been just accumulating Amazon big. I would say that's probably my biggest, and Meta. Yeah, so Tesla, Meta, Amazon, all were easy buys. Just those were freebies. I mean, and everybody was so angry at Trump, and I feel like if things work out, if it works out everything, and he really, repositions America in the whole global affairs, and we start getting a more fair trade partnerships throughout the world, and our economy starts, and we start getting rid of the waste, and our economy does start flourishing. I really feel that we could see new highs. We could soar. It's not just wishful thinking. It's really like, America has been getting pillaged, from the in, and not just from the outside. Yeah, obviously foreign actors were involved, but it was from the inside where we were getting pillaged and we were getting horrible deals, and no one was looking into the fraud. And like Ben said, someone who comes in with Medicaid, they said I have a little cut on my finger. They'll throw them in the, they'll give them an MCAT. They'll say, we need to give you a this gram, that gram, and then by the time you're out of there, and what they don't tell you is that every time they bill for an MCAT, they're getting a kickback. Oh, you did 30 over the year? Well, then you're getting a bonus from the company. So it's kind of it's like a legalized scheme in my mind. But
Yeah, it's a
not,
rack,
yeah.
it's a
Oh yeah, it
racketeering
is.
operation, and just to say, like, it's at every single level, right? You know what I mean? Like, these aren't necessarily bad people, but if like a doctor knows that they can just like bill something, like it's really easy. You just mark up, you just like
Yeah, I
I
was
mean,
just gonna
listen,
say
I don't want
that's
to
a
make them seem like bad guys, because if that's the system, then that's the system. You can't be mad at a system at
yeah.
play. It's like the
But
same.
if the option
You
is
can't be mad. Listen, Ben, you can't be mad at developers for over. It's like, what, you want to be a Letitia James? You're gonna go
I
after.
mean the healthcare system's ass.
You're gonna go after every hell. I mean, listen.
Like our
Do
health and Medicare
developers
and everything is
are
ass.
developers also hurting the housing market for an everyday person that wants to get a home, for a couple that wants to be a first time home buyer, for a young professional or young adults, that have children? Of course, it's hurting them. But that's almost
yeah,
every system that there's
just the
people.
point is, like, if you're a doctor, right, and like you can buy literally another brand new car by just ticking two boxes, literally two boxes that add another, 60, 70, 80K, income.
And they rationalize it
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, they'll say, well, okay, he fell off a bike. I mean,
yeah. So
technically, maybe there's maybe a 1% of a 1% chance that, okay, that MCAT could possibly, oh, this guy has internal bleeding in his brain, or something, so they could justify it where it's on the fringe of, you could take it both ways. There's
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
some
and I know
malicious.
Josh.
There's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, Josh. I know you were saying something.
No, I was just saying the whole healthcare in the US is kind of just, it's not perfect. It's not great at all. I mean, for example, my grandfather had an infection in his stomach. He got it all stitched up. He had a tumor removed recently, whatever. And it got infected. And he was like, I don't want to pay for my stitches when I went because they messed it up. They got it infected. Okay, why can't he get the money back for the job that they didn't do correctly? When you do a job for someone else, he was actually
Yeah.
very mad about that and he was complaining about that. He's like, I want my money back
Yeah, yeah.
because he was,
It's like you have business, but healthcare is a business, right? And for some reason,
yeah,
like, we're like, oh well, healthcare is a business, but they don't really have to follow the rules of like other businesses, like actually like, provide a service and stick to it.
yeah.
So
You provide a
it's more
service, you give a
complicated.
guarantee, right? You
Yeah,
give a
it's more
guarantee, you do the
complicated because
job
like
correctly.
you're dealing with the human body, you're dealing with this, but like at the end of the day, to summarize it, the incentives are very, very, very misaligned, right? Like the incentives to falsify or stretch the truth are so incredibly high that literally people, by like falsifying one little thing, you can make the average office worker's like salary in a day or two or a week or two. It's really hard to get people, even if they are making $600,000-700,000 a year, to now want an extra one, two, three, four, $500,000 a year. So that's kind of the system, and then it goes all downhill from there. And there's bad actors and good actors, but people
Yeah,
also
it's a
making
whole
bad
system at the end
choices.
of the day, and it's never gonna be perfect. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
it's all a money machine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can jump to another topic real quick. Are there any other, Sam? You were talking about Tesla. Dan, are there any stocks? Is there one particular stock that you're looking at right now as a good potential opportunity?
Yeah, something this week really came across my screen and really piqued my interest. It's Rocket Lab. They're not really talked about as often as I would think. I think a lot of companies are trying to get into this space, for lack of better words. But it's a huge market and it's becoming a defense industry. Obviously, the big players there are SpaceX and Blue Origin, who've partnered with ULA, the United Launch Alliance. But as you look at SpaceX being the dominant player in that space, it's no secret that the European Union does not look favorably upon Elon Musk, and they kind of rely on him right now, and that's being seen in the war in Ukraine. And the satellite industry in the European Union is about $300 billion, and the market cap right now of Rocket Lab is about $11 billion. And I think they're trying to make a very big push into that satellite market in the EU, knowing that SpaceX isn't on the best of terms with those countries. They have a launch coming up here in the second half of 2025 for their Neutron rocket as well, which, if that goes according to plan, they're part of a program with the Space Force for a $5.6 billion contract to be a part of their new Space Force launch program. So I think it's something to keep in mind. I think it's up about 10-15% here the past 2 days, and that's kind of why I've been looking at it. It's still about 15% off all-time highs, so it's not really trading around there yet, but
Yeah.
I think it's something to definitely keep on the radar.
Yeah, that one's come across my radar. I think it's a fairly low risk, fairly high risk play. Again, I mean, it could go down 50, 60, 78% from here if things start not going their way. But again, that's probably the worst case scenario because they can always, sell off their assets and whatnot and be acquired by SpaceX or something else. And if they are able to actually become a SpaceX, I mean, we're seeing like 30, 40, 50x potential from here. So it is a position that I actually started small, and we'll be looking to add if we see retracement or really any kind of like crazy news. But so I like that one. I like that one as well. On my side, I mean, small positions like I mentioned in Rocket Lab, small positions in um, the big one has been UNH, honestly. And small position in I think I was adding a little bit of Google as it was like under 160. I think Google under 150 is free money. I think Google under 160 is a great buy. Now that it's almost kind of inching towards 170, I'm holding off just a little bit. I think the market's a little bit overextended right now. Overall, though, I have been selling more than I've been buying. So I'm a net seller over the last 2 weeks. Happy to have trimmed some stocks that I think are getting frothy, and stack a little bit of cash. And if we do see a retracement of April lows, like talking heads are predicting, I think they're never going to be right. So maybe we don't see a retracement of April lows, but maybe we see a small retracement or small correction. I would love to be in a position to be able to further allocate capital into those companies that I really like. So that's kind of where I'm standing. Any final words from anyone else? Josh, I don't know if there's one company that you're focused on as well.
I saw that Michael Berry was going heavily on Estee Lauder. I know a guy we follow, Jeremy. He's been talking about it for months. Haven't really looked into it, so that's definitely caught my eye. Oscar Health is another one that's definitely caught my eye. I know retail loves that stock. And Rocket Lab, I've been seeing a lot of talk over the last few months. That one's just high risk, high reward for me. So I'm not. I'll look into a little bit more, but I'm not too interested in something that's high risk like that. But I mean, it could be a play for sure. But Estee Lauder and Oscar Health are two that I'm kind of looking into.
Yeah. I mean, just on that Michael Burry comment, yeah, I forgot to mention this as well. Crazy. Burry sold every single position and only bought Estee Lauder. So
Yeah.
he was really heavy in China. He had Baidu, he had Baba. Baba was his biggest one. He had Pinduoduo, maybe a
Yeah, a
couple
lot of
others.
Chinese stocks he
And
sold.
he has cleared his portfolio and only owns Estee Lauder, the makeup company. I bought Estee Lauder like 3 4 weeks ago, small position. Um, just because it was getting to because of Jeremy mainly because it was getting to insanely cheap levels. That's when I added to my elf position too. Similar like makeup industry, both in different ways. But I don't love the industry, so it is a really interesting buy for Burry. Again, he's obviously a smart person, so we'll see what he's thinking and what he's doing. But
Yeah, the only cosmetic
yeah,
position I'm in currently, I went pretty heavily in Elf, down in the I think I started a position around the 50s range, so that was a pretty good buy so far.
yep,
That's why I didn't really wasn't looking too much into Estee Lauder, but now I'll look into
yeah,
the numbers and how
yeah,
they're doing as a
yeah.
business. I
Estee
mean,
Lauder
there's
is a little bit of like an older brand, So
yeah,
unless they're gonna do some like, and that's the plan, I guess, a big turnaround. Um, but we'll see. I mean, again, it's a really really interesting play. I also will say Burry's portfolio is not that big. Like, I think it's somewhere like in the range of like 50, maybe $60 million. So in the grand scheme of things, I mean, this is like he's kind of like a small fish at this point. He's managing like a very very select amount of capital. But he is famous guy from The Big Short. People follow what he says. So we'll
yeah.
have to see what exactly happens with that. Any final words before we sign off? Go
Sam, I
around the
want to
horn.
get your take really fast on these Bitcoin miners. Why are they trading inversely to what Bitcoin's doing? Do you have any opinions on that? I know you're big on Bitcoin.
So, so what I've been seeing is I just been following Mike Alfred. I don't know if you guys follow him
Yep.
on. Yeah, you guys know Mike Alfred. Um, what I'm seeing is that they were just having a bunch of like problems in the entire space with the whole mining. Even though that the I'm not 100, like I don't know too much about the whole miners stuff. I just know that it is actually pretty strange because I was just looking at my iron position and I think I'm down like something along 30%, and I bought a while back.
They're usually, in my opinion, they're usually like pretty heavy laggers compared
Yeah.
to Bitcoin, especially if we see another leg up with Bitcoin and it starts getting euphoric, then miners will run.
You know what?
Um,
I've realized that it's I thought when I first got into miners, like it's kind of going to be like a little bit of a leverage Bitcoin play, but now I don't believe that at all. I think that the best leverage plays right now, if you're not like if you're not like MicroStrategy, if you don't like what's his name? Michael Saylor, then I think something even like a Coinbase or a Robinhood is a very good proxy because just look at Robinhood versus Bitcoin, and I'm telling you, like it's almost identical, like with ups and downs, because they when Bitcoin is kind of like the frenzy, like you said, they're making so much money. I mean, I don't know if you guys see that spread, but every single purchase they're like eating off that. Every sale they're eating, every transfer, and people who don't even follow it too in depth, they don't realize how much they're making. And then, like I said, with the whole credit card business now. It keeps expanding. Like I keep opening the app, the Robinhood Gold, and there's just a bunch of new like really cool stuff. But
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
I
I mean,
think that more. I would say that it's still. I'm gonna keep my positions, but if I want to add, I'm just gonna add to probably either just
yeah.
actual Bitcoin or yeah. What
Final
were you gonna
thought
say?
on the miners. I mean, the miners, you have to get the timing right. So, I went pretty heavily into Hut. That was performing super well. That was a position I took about 15 months ago. Iron, I'm up now, but I had to average down heavily. Like I bought in at like, I don't know, $6. Was buying. My average price was like then $8 or $9. It goes to like $5 again. I like iron. I think it's a high quality miner, so I was averaging further down. But the problem with the miners is, for a long time they're unprofitable, right? They're like producing Bitcoin that is not profitable for them to sell. So then they start holding on it. So it's very very reliant on the price of Bitcoin, of course. And I do think they are somewhat of a leverage play. I don't think all of the miners will be a leverage play, but they also are becoming like energy infrastructure companies. So I like having a minor position. I think it's important if you want kind of like crypto exposure, but also potential exposure to like energy and other things. Um, but yeah, I think again at the end of the day, you don't want to have more in miners than you have in like Bitcoin and stuff like that. That's kind of what I believe in.
Are you
But
still in
I think
Clean
it's good
Spark, Ben?
exposure. What?
Are you still in Clean Spark?
Yeah, I haven't sold out any miners. I'm still in Riot, still in Mara, still in Clean Spark,
Okay.
but all of
I'm
those
I'm
together
only
are
in Hut.
smaller
I'm
than
in
like my
Hut. I
HUD
mean,
and Iron positions.
I remember
Okay.
Ben put me on Hut, and at a point I was up like I don't even know. I was up so much. Should have sold. It
Well,
was up.
I had a pretty heavy Riot position. I sold when Bitcoin pretty much surpassed 100K. I'm fully out of Riot, and
Mm.
then I started a Clean Spark position when we talked about it last. I'm a little down on it, but it's not a huge position. But yeah, I think with miners, and this has happened every single time. It's just a giant lagger compared to Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin's been outperforming like everything. You can even
You
with
know what's pretty
altcoins, right? It's
interesting?
like
I think I'm actually looking. I don't know. Do you guys have BitB, the Bitcoin ETF?
I do,
no,
yeah.
I just buy
I
Bitcoin.
haven't looked. I bought it the first day it came out, and I haven't looked at it till right now, and I'm up 125% on it. So I think it might be doing better than
No,
Bitcoin.
because it was at like 42,000, something like that. That was the price of
Oh,
Bitcoin when,
okay.
when we first took those bid B positions. Bitcoin was at around like 40, 42,
Okay,
43,000,
so so it's
44,000.
about the same. It's about
So
the
yeah,
same.
so it moves the same. It moves the same. It's not yeah. But awesome guys. This is a really
Sounds
good
good.
one. We're gonna do this next week, and I want to announce that Joshy and I, we've done a deal. We've done a big acquisition. So we've taken. I've purchased the Dynasty Discord from Joshy. It's going to be a historic moment. I'm memorializing this on this podcast, on this live stream. We are going to be running that thing up. It's going to be probably one of the best places in the world, and I say this conservatively, for investing information relating to the stock market, relating to crypto, and we're going to turn that thing into a world-class community. You heard it here first. Josh, pleasure doing business with you. I'd love to have
Thank
you
you,
on
sir.
as an advisor, of course.
Congrats, guys.
And
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was sick.
and everyone else here, of course, is a part of that. So we will run it up, and hopefully, everyone here makes minimum multi seven figures by the end of this year. Uh,
7.
just between
At
now
least.
and the end of the
7.
year.
So,
Between now and the end of the year.
what about 8?
Hey, we
What
gotta
about
do at
8?
least 10,000.
Gotta do at least 100,000.
Shout out to Ashton Hall. All right, boys, it's another one in the
Alright.
books. Appreciate everybody. Take it easy.
Alright.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
guys. Have a good one.
Alright, Wagwan.